friends. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. Let's talk books with Shannon. I am Shannon and I am so excited about today's video. Because I just started my channel in September. I haven't been doing this for very long. This will be my first end of the year hashtag question video. So I'm very excited. I've taken some from a lot of different questions from a lot of different booktubers that we all know and love, but also I put some questions of my own in there. And yeah, I hope you like it. We have a lot of questions and I won't spend too much time on each one to keep it from being too long, but let's jump in. Number one is my favorite series, and I picked two. One that I interpreted that as one that's completed, and then a favorite series that I've started but not finished. So the favorite series that I have finished, and I just pulled one book from it, was the Chestnut Springs series by Elsie Silver. I adored this series and all the cowboys in it and all the cowgirls in it and the banter and the romance, and it was just so much fun. So that was definitely my favorite series. Love me some cowboys. My favorite series that I'm not finished with is the Boys of Tommen series. I have read the first two books. I've read Shannon and Johnny's story. Absolutely adored it. And I'm looking forward to Joey's story coming up, Joey and Eva. And I will be starting that probably first month in January. I want to kind of wait until then. I don't want to start it in December when all the holidays going on, because I know it's an emotional read. All those books are. But absolutely love them. They're long. By all means, if you're going to try it, start it from the beginning. Read Johnny and Shannon's story first. This is the first book of the series, Binding 13. Love, love, love that. Okay. Next question. My favorite historical fiction book. My favorite historical fiction book of the year was Taylor Jenkins Reid, Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I love this book. It'll definitely, I haven't done my top 24 for 2024 yet, but I think it'll be in the top 5. Absolutely loved it. Loved Evelyn. Loved all the side characters. Very complex character, Evelyn is, and it's just written so well. And I really love this book. So that was my favorite historical fiction. My favorite thriller, which is the next question of 2024, was The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. Love this one. Gave this one 5 stars. It had a kind of an epic ending, and that I did not see coming. And I listened to the audio on this, and the audio was really, really great. Very suspenseful and very engaging. I was on the edge of my seat for the entire book. Most overhyped book of the year for me. I think I have 2 for this one. Yes, I do. I have 2 for this one. First one that I think is very overhyped was Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. I know that many of you and many people absolutely love this book, and it was talked about constantly. It was fine. I gave it 3 stars, but I loved Nate, but I did not like Anastasia at all. I thought she was just mean almost the whole book. She didn't have a lot of growth throughout the book. And that was my main thing for giving it 3 stars. Was it was a great plot, and I love the main male character, but I did not like the female character. So that book to me was too overhyped. The other book that I thought was a little overhyped, and again, this is not going to be a popular choice, was Nora Goes Off Script by Annabelle Monaghan. I am very eager to read the rest of her books because I did love Nora in this book. I did not like Leo in this book. And I know Annabelle's getting a lot of hype for all of her books. And I'm sure I'll love the others probably. But this one just kind of fell flat for me. And it was mostly because of Leo. So this one I thought was definitely overhyped. Okay, we may as well get the negative out of the way. Let's do most frustrating book. Okay, the most frustrating book for me this year was probably Lisa Jewell, None of This Is True. I thought this book was really well written, and I was very engaged the entire time. And then the ending left it up to the reader, or to me, left it to me to interpret things. It was very open-ended at the end, and that was very frustrating for me. Don't do that to me. Tell me how the book ends. Don't leave it to me to decide how it ends. So I did not care for that ending, but I did like the book. But if you like books like that, that really make you think and you know, and kind of come to a conclusion on your own, then you would probably like this book. But it was a frustrating book for me. Okay, most disappointing read. We're getting all the negative out. That's okay. Again, very popular book with some. I know Destiny, who is a booktuber that I absolutely love, really enjoyed this book and is encouraging others to read it. So I read it based on her, but I did not care for it. Was You Deserve Each Other. This book, to me, I did not think that the two people, I don't even remember their names, Naomi and Nicholas. Naomi and Nicholas, they were frustrated. They didn't belong together. They didn't belong together. 2/3 of the book, they were fighting, pulling pranks, pretty harsh pranks on each other, laughing at each other, mocking each other. And then in the end, I'm supposed to believe that all of a sudden in the last third of the book, they belong together. No, they did not belong together. I thought that they should live in separate states, separate countries, get as far away from each other as possible. And that's not the way I'm supposed to feel with romance. So this book was 2 stars for me. But I still love Destiny, even though she loved this book. It just wasn't my taste. It didn't hit for me. Okay. Debut author, my favorite debut author. I have a good one for this. I read Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt, and I think this was written a few years ago, but it was her debut novel. I just read it this year, and I loved this book. I was shocked that when I found out it was a debut novel. Wonderful writing. One of the main characters, which is Marcellus, the octopus, I absolutely adored. I could not get enough of him. I wanted him to be on every page. I absolutely loved him. The other characters too, very, very compassionate and a book based on family. And I just really enjoyed it. And I thought the writing was really well done. And I was shocked to find out that it was a debut novel for her. Excellent book. Okay, Underdog book. A book that surprised me. Okay, the only reason it surprised me is because and it's probably because it's an older book, but I hadn't heard anyone talk about it too much. I read Before We Were Strangers by Renee Carlino. And I think after I read this book, I did hear Sarah Caroli say something about rereading it, that she really enjoyed it. But that was the first time I had heard anyone mention this book on BookTube. And it's probably because it's an older book. It was probably talked about a lot a few years ago. I wasn't really watching BookTube a few years ago. I only started last year. So, but I really enjoyed this book. It was excellent. As a matter of fact, I got another one of Renee Carlino's books. Because I love this one so much, I picked up another one to read in 2025. So highly recommend this romance. Okay, favorite book couple. Favorite book couple. Yours truly, Abby Jimenez. I love Dr. Brianna and Dr. Jacob. Oh my gosh, they were my favorite couple of the year. So wonderfully written and so beautiful. And the social anxiety was in here for Dr. Jacob, and it was just handled perfectly. It was really, I couldn't have done it better, and I'm a special ed teacher and I've seen a lot of it. So anyway, but yes, very, very well written. Love this book. It's probably going to be a reread for me in 2025. While I'm holding this book, we'll do the next question, which is my favorite female main character, and that would be Brianna. The way Brianna handles Jacob's social anxiety, I just adored her for it. First of all, she's smart. She's a doctor. Love that. She's independent. I love that she is so close to her brother. So there's that family element. But the way she handles his anxiety and the way she writes letters to him to help him, and the way she prepares him if they're going somewhere together, she kind of prepares him like what it's going to look like when he gets there to park, and so he doesn't stress out. And oh my gosh, it was just wonderful. Love this book. So, but she is definitely my favorite female character of 2024. So we'll go back to my favorite male character, and that would be Johnny Kavanaugh of The Boys of Tommen. I try not to repeat too much, but had to in some cases, because this book is definitely just meant a lot to me. So Johnny Kavanaugh, the way he protects Shannon like the river, is unbelievable to me. Just unbelievable. He is there for her day in, day out, regardless of what, never pressures her, never pressures her to speak when she's not ready, and he just protects her from all the bullying, and I just loved him. Loved him. I think of him often. Can't wait to continue this series. Happiest read. Okay, hang on. I might sneeze. Maybe not. All right, the happiest read of this year for me, and it was one I read back in January, but oh my gosh, it's going to be a reread for me in 2025 too, was The Bodyguard by Catherine Senner. This book made me laugh so much, probably more than any other book I read this year, and I read 100 and will be 140 books come the end of December. I'll be 140 or over. This book, I laughed the most at. So I highly recommend you read this book if you need a light, fluffy read that will make you laugh out loud time and time again. Pick this one up. Okay, longest book I read, longest and shortest book. Okay. Longest book I read this year was A Court of Mist and Fury. Oh no, it wasn't. This book was 626 pages. And I think Keeping 13, yeah, it was over that. It was over 637. So it was Keeping 13, but Court of Mist and Fury was right there too. Those two were the longest books that I read, but neither one of them felt long, to be honest. They both felt short. I didn't feel like I was getting too much. I could have, they could have been longer, and I still would have loved them. So that was my longest books. My shortest book this year was The Little Prince. It is 96 pages. Nope, not even 90. 90 pages. Love this book. This book is full of symbolism. If you need a short book and you like symbolism and you want a delightful main character, this Little Prince is it. So pick this one up. Loved it. New favorite author of the year. Well, I'm going to go back a little bit. Not necessarily to this book, but to this author. Abby Jimenez. I read most of her, I don't know if it's all of her books, but I read most of her books. I read 6 or 8 of her books this year and absolutely loved it. I will read anything she puts out. I absolutely love her writing so much. So she is definitely, this year was the first year that I picked one of her books up, and then I just kept getting them because I just wanted to continue reading her books, and none of them were a disappointment. So Abby Jimenez, if you haven't picked her up, she was my favorite author of this year. Favorite new author for me. Okay, favorite setting. My favorite setting of any of the books that I read was probably All Roads Lead Here, Mariana Zapata. Really love this book, slow burn book. She reads slow burn books. I'm going to pick up more of her books in 2025. I'm looking forward to it. This one, though, I love the environment. This one takes place in Colorado, in the mountains, and there's lots of hiking and lots of wilderness and lots of coziness, and I just really, really love the setting and was able to relate to that because I'm a hiker myself. So loved this setting. Okay, books I would reread that I read this year. Some of them actually all 3 of these I'm planning on reading next year. So again, yours truly, because that was my favorite couple, and I love Abby Jimenez. She was my favorite author, so I'm going to reread at least one of hers next year, but that would be the first one. The Bodyguard by Catherine Senner will be a reread for me. Absolutely love this book, made me laugh. And The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Love this book, love the complexity of it, loved all the characters, and love the writing. So next time I read this book, I'm definitely going to annotate it. Okay, those are going to be my books that I would definitely reread. Okay, next question is the most unique concept you read about this year. I'm going to say It's 7 Year Slip by Ashley Poston. Love this book. Just the magical realism in it and the fact that the apartment is magical and these traveling 7 years in the past and the future, that whole concept. So this has magical realism. If you haven't read it, highly recommend. It's a romance, and that concept to me was very, very intriguing. All right, the other books that I would say had a unique concept was the Natural series. I really liked the found family in this, and just the concept of taking prodigy teenagers and bringing them together to solve cold cases. And the family element in this really, really sealed this series for me. Absolutely love the found family in it. But definitely a cool concept. by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. The highest and lowest rated books on Goodreads. And did I agree with them that I read? Okay, so I read the lowest rated book that I read that was on Goodreads was The Lake by Natasha Preston. I read this around Halloween time. And on Goodreads, it was given a 3.41 rating. I gave it a 3-star rating, so I would say I do agree with it. I think a lot of people didn't like this book because of the ending. I actually love the ending. The ending is shocking, like shocking. The last page shocks you. It isn't necessarily a happy ending, but that's thrillers for you. I remember I read The Last Word by Taylor Adams. Loved that book. Was on the edge of my seat the whole time. And then didn't like the ending. But what a great ending. Because totally shocked me. Totally shocked me. So just because I don't like the ending doesn't, in a thriller, endings can go any way with twists. And I love that about them. So I did like the ending in that it shocked me. I thought the rest of the book was kind of slow. And that was just the pacing. I did not like it. It was a short book, but it took me long to get through it because I was just always stopping and looking at my phone or doing something else. So I ended up giving this book three stars, and Goodreads gave it 3.4. So I would say yes, I agree with that rating. Okay, the highest book that I read this year, the highest rated book on Goodreads, was A Court of Mist and Fury. Goodreads rated that 4.65, and I rated it 4.5. So I would say, yes, I agree. I loved Reese and Feyre and their story, and I'm looking forward to the next one. Okay, my last question is, what are your priorities for 2025 in relationship to books? So my goal is going to be to read 110 books in 2025. I read 140 this year, but I wasn't filming videos for most of last year, just the last few months. So I wanted to reduce it a little bit so I have time to do all the videos that I plan on doing. So I put my goal at 110. Two other priorities I have are that typically I read 10 to 12 books a month. This year, I want 3 of those 10 books every month to be something other than romance. I gravitate to romance. I love romance, and I'll always read a lot of romance, but I love other genres too. I really, I just started reading fantasy this last year, and I love historical fiction, and I really like mysteries. So I want to make sure that I am getting those in as well. So hopefully, that's the goal. 3 books a month that are not romance. And my other goal is to annotate 1 book a month in 2025. I have not really annotated much in the past, and when I have, it's just like putting tabs on things that I liked. But I'm going to work out a system and try and annotate 1 book a month using that system. So those are my things that I'm going to put at the top of the list to prioritize. But yeah, I'm looking forward to a new year of reading. So thanks for tuning in today. I'll be having my top 24 of 2024 coming up soon. So so keep an eye out for that. And if we have similar tastes, or if you liked anything in this video, please hit like, please hit subscribe, and leave me a comment. I love talking to you. So until next time, friends, happy reading.